1 year ago, I uploaded my final, inescapable cell design to YouTube. Only a 17 by 17 room with no roof and no solo escape. This new prison doesn't have a roof either, but it's a little bit bigger. This cell is nearly 500 times the size of my old cell design, and over 5 times the size of Eleos Citadel, and way more humane too. Prisoners of this cell have access to every item in the game, except for the things on this list. Anything that lets you escape, of course. And just like before, they can still receive mail. They get access to pets, they don't have mining fatigue, and they never even have to interact with a single guard after entering the cell. Prisoners here can actually play survival from inside their cell. They can build communities, farms, megabases, even other prisons, or whatever else they'd want to do. In Eleos Citadel, the goal of the prison was to rehabilitate prisoners by giving them access to activities, therapy, and school. What makes this cell so special is the atmosphere. Prisoners who first enter this cell will be spawned into a massive underground labyrinth. And you may think, Kenadian, how can this possibly be more humane than Eleos Citadel? It's a terrifying and hostile maze and there's practically no way to escape. But if the prisoners here carry on and endure, they can find their way to the exit, where they can reach the surface. And the surface is a paradise. The most peaceful and beautiful cell of all time. Nearly 400 blocks wide, this cell can contain up to 1,000 prisoners. And this is the first inescapable cell in Minecraft where prisoners can see the sun. And of course, this beautiful masterpiece of a cell was built by the greatest prison builder of all time. The one and only Corealis. They absolutely deserve the credit for everything that was built here. But Kenadian, wait, if prisoners have access to so many things, why can't they just break their bed or pearl out of the cell? Well, between the cell and the prisoners' beds is a blast-proof mining detector that's over 30 blocks thick, made of observers, which will, in that specific region, start dispensing high NBT shulker boxes, making it impossible to enter that area without being kicked from the game. Similarly, as you've probably guessed, this entire cell is completely surrounded in area bands. But this isn't any ordinary defense. The distance between the outside of the prison and the cell is 1 mile. The diameter of this entire prison is 3,200 blocks. The wall is so big that there will inevitably be a layer of unloaded chunks surrounding this prison. Unloaded chunks which stop ender pearls, flying machines, llama cannons, and simply by having a prison this big, all of those are impossible. So there's no way in from the outside and no way out from the inside, and the entire respective nether region is also completely covered in area bands. So the question now is, with a prison so secure, how do you get the prisoner inside? How is anyone supposed to visit? Well, this is where it starts to get interesting. Yeah, you think what you've seen is cool? I've just been hyping this prison up. So let's finally unlock all the incredible secrets behind the largest and most humane prison in all of Minecraft, Daedalus Labyrinth. So you, in the comfort of your own freedom, want to visit Daedalus Labyrinth. This is not an easy quest, because everything is bigger in Daedalus Labyrinth, and that includes time. Visits here happen very rarely and only under particular circumstances. Visitors must pay to enter, partly to make up for the cost of maintaining the cell, and also as an incentive to make sure our visitors are more likely to be trustworthy. If you come to the Daedalus Labyrinth Visitor Center and pay for a visit, you'll be put in a queue by being given a ticket, which when called will tell you when it's your turn to visit. But there's a reason for this, and that is lazy loaded stasis chambers. Putting an ender pearl in lazy loaded chunks makes it immune to despawning in unloaded chunks and immune to emancipation when its owner dies, meaning escaping with stasis chambers and abusing the end exploit are completely possible, except for one counter: server restarts. A server restart automatically forces every chunk in the game to be unloaded, meaning there's no way to use a stasis chamber that was placed before a server restart happened. And when the guards are ready, they'll queue you to the portal. You'll stand idle waiting for their call to walk through. All the guards must first position themselves. There are 3 guards in this prison. 3 guards total. not shifts, only 3 guards. The first operates all the controls in the overworld, the second guard operates everything in the nether, and the third will accompany the visitor through the first 2 stages of the entrance. All guards are in position and you've received the signal to enter. Phase 1 has just begun. Instead of having individual controls for every piston and gate in this entire prison, there are 4 buttons, so easy to use a preschooler could run this guard position. Of course, before you even enter, the guard will have enabled the dimension-proof Eleos auto panic. Fun fact, practically every single auto panic design ever created can get sabotaged if the owner of the cat travels between dimensions. Your cat will teleport to you and stop guarding the prison. This cat is in a minecart, and when the auto panic is enabled, it will get pushed constantly into the chest, which will detect whether or not the owner is online, despite the fact that it's not technically sitting down. Anyway, after that's enabled, the guard will have activated Phase 1. As soon as Phase 1 begins, the gates of the prison will open, and the accompanying guard will be able to join and light the portal. As soon as the portal is lit, they give you the signal to enter, and you walk in. Immediately, you'll get kicked from the game as a 2-player checker, and then TNT will destroy the portal. As you've probably guessed, the thing that kicked you from the game is an area ban. This force kick that happens to everyone who enters this portal allows the guards to see exactly how many people entered that portal. If there's only one disconnect message, the guards can be sure to continue the visiting process. If not, it gets complicated, but we'll explain that later. At the end of Phase 1, the area ban covering the portal will be moved. Moved? Do you mean disabled? No. 90% of the bans in this prison are never disabled. I have handed high NBT items to piglins wearing netherite armor and set them in minecarts. Being held by an entity increases their ban range from a 64 block diameter to 92. And sitting in minecarts means I can activate rails which push them back and forth and unban areas without ever having to disable the piglins. Right now, for instance, there's a piglin in a minecart close enough to this hallway that it's banning this entire section. So while it would be pretty easy to just mine the blocks in front of you, you can't. It won't get you anywhere because if you pass this barrier, you'll get kicked from the game. Great, so you've entered the nether and you're now face to face with one of the guards. Somehow we have to get you all the way from here into the cell, which is hundreds of blocks away, and also guarantee that there's no way you can smuggle items with you.
Alright, listen to everything I say very carefully. If you don't cooperate, you'll be kicked from the server forever. Sound good? You'll need to give a verbal oath that you take responsibility for anything that happens during the visit, which could threaten the security of this prison. Promise that you've told no one about when your visit is taking place, and that you will not in any way attempt to aid any prisoner in escape. Alright, you see that respawn anchor at the end of the hallway that I'm blocking because I'm standing right in front of it? There's an ender chest below it. As soon as this gate opens, you have 15 seconds to put away anything you'd like to and set your spawn, after which I will kill you. Under no circumstances, unless we tell you to, do not respawn. Don't. Just don't respawn, alright? Do you understand?
After you've very explicitly been told the rules about what's to come, the barrier in front of you will retract and the piglin in the minecart will be pushed away. After you set your spawn at our prison, the manual kill check will take place. But there's one final huge security measure that's necessary. The reason you can't click respawn is because your respawn anchor is obstructed. If you click the respawn button, you will go to world spawn. So instead, you must wait. Like I said, this visit requires a restart to guarantee that you can't use the end exploit or use stasis chambers. So after making you wait several days, kicking you from the game multiple times, and physically stabbing you to death, we will now make you wait on the respawn screen for several more days. Guys, I swear, the prison's humane. Now the server has restarted and you can enter Phase 3. The guard will press this button which will extend a block and provide you with a respawn point. Then they will signal for you to press respawn, and as soon as you do, you will get kicked from the game again. But you've done it, and you've received what is in the guard's eyes the highest honor, successfully and honestly going through one of the most tedious visiting processes ever. And as a reward, rather than put you through more tedious and redundant security measures, a second kill check, trapdoor hallways that force you to crouch, unnecessary mining fatigue, we give you this grand hallway with speed 2 and haste 2. Speed as a gift to get you through the hallway quicker, and haste because it's funny. And when you get to the very end, the control guard will be waiting for you. And as soon as you arrive, they'll light the portal to send you back to the overworld. Of course, this visiting process closes within 3 minutes, so you don't have time to break any blocks. Now you will be accompanied by the ghost of Christmas future. Well, I mean, the third guard. This is the guard who operates the region below the cell. You are now, literally, under the labyrinth. The guard will determine, out of 1,000 beds, which one will be assigned to you. Every single respawn point in this cell is only given to one person, and once it's used by someone, no one else can have that bed. So you'll go down one of dozens of hallways where you can get put into a room and, physically stabbed to death again, and just like that, you're in. This mechanism will guarantee that if you die while your respawn point is unloaded, you'll respawn somewhere where you get kicked from the game. So, don't die while your respawn point's unloaded. And also because of this honey block and weird respawn glitch magic, you won't be able to respawn in crawl mode to get under the mining detector. One other thing I need to point out, yes, of course, this guard has a visiting auto-panic. So if they get kicked from the game somehow whilst the visit is taking place, then the entire section of the cell with respawn points will be temporarily area banned. But by nature of the Eleos auto-panic, as soon as they join, the bans will be removed, and the visit can continue if they get accidentally kicked. With all of that out of the way, you have now made it all the way from the outside world into Daedalus Labyrinth. You can explore the cell, you can visit other societies, you can meet with the prisoners and with other visitors. Wait, hang on, did I say other visitors? There can't be multiple visitors at once, can there? Well, I may have forgotten a crucial detail about this prison. Eleos Citadel was designed to be the most humane prison in Minecraft, and the Pulsar was designed to be the most involuntary. This one is both. You see, because all visitor and prisoner respawn points are virtually the same, the only distinction between who's a prisoner and who's a visitor is how long you spend in the cell. A visitor could be here for a few hours, and a prisoner could be here for a few months. Other than that, it is ultimately the guard's decision how long you spend in the prison. And if they really felt like it, every visitor could be a prisoner. Who says they have to block off your respawn? Who says how long the visit takes place? Honestly, who says who is a prisoner and who isn't? After all, were the sacrificial victims that were put in the Minotaur's labyrinth expected to make it out alive? You think this prison is merciful? This is not Eleos Citadel. The cell may be humane, it may give you more opportunities than any other cell does, but it is anything but merciful. After all, who's to say this is a tranquil paradise? The cell could just as easily turn into an anarchic nightmare. It could become an apocalyptic landscape. It could develop an authoritarian government. It could have a prison of its own. You see, the cell gives free will to all. And when all have free will, the world is at the mercy of the rulers. And well, the rulers of this prison aren't the guards. The labyrinth wasn't designed to be paradisiacal or chaotic. It can be whatever you want it to be. So now that I've emotionally scarred you, let me give you some bonus features that make this prison so secure. Tripwire hook roof detector. Stand anywhere on the roof of the visiting process, 5 observers activate. Visiting lockdown gets activated permanently. Trap portals on the outside. Try breaking in, get kicked from the game, break the trap portals. Visiting lockdown is activated permanently. 1,000 block thick wither walls on the outside made of lava and water, protecting pillars of more of those piglin area bands I talked about before. The nether has anvil grid defenses, protecting more pillars of piglin bands. The guards can go under the cell and activate chunk loaders to force load the entire cell so that a prisoner leaving doesn't have any pearls in the cell after they die. Quarantine cell in case that doesn't work, where you can keep a visitor until the server restart happens and then you can set him free. Eleos auto-panic cats in both dimensions. Truly, with all of this security, there is no way to escape. Unless you activated a light suppressor and unloaded all the bands and then flew out with Elytra. Or, chunk skipped something into the cell, like a person. Or withered all the way through with brute force. Or used light suppressors to force unload a pearl in the cell. You know what? You would not believe how hard it is to build a prison. As a prison escapist, there are so many things that go on in your head, it's impossible to stop all of them. I've always been on the side of thinking that the perfect inescapable prison will never be possible, and while that statement has some dependencies and specifications these days, I still think it holds true. As much as I'd love to tell everyone watching this video that I've created the perfect inescapable prison, I'm not going to put myself on an imaginary pedestal. In fact, I've never said inescapable in regards to any of my prisons. I've always built them with my challenge in mind first, and security second. And still, personally, I think I've done an alright job. But hey, you know what? Is that what defines a prison? how secure it is, how impossible to escape? Maybe, kind of, but gosh darn it, have you ever seen a prison cooler than this? This prison may have some flaws or weak spots in security, but I can say in my completely unbiased opinion, this is absolutely the greatest Minecraft prison I have ever seen. Oh, and since this is practically the end of the video, I must tell you, there are 2 downloads for this prison. One will be full of area bans, and the other will have none. So you can play it and experience the map without the worry of accidentally kicking yourself from the game. Please join my Discord server and download the map for yourself. Corealis poured their soul into building it and making it so enjoyable. You could try and play survival in it as a challenge or host events with your friends. There's seriously so much to do in here, even if it's not used as a prison cell. The link to my Discord server is in the description. Thank you if you choose to download it. Thank you so much for your support. And thank you for watching. Okay, so there's probably no one watching the video at this point, and I've said this in practically none of my videos, because I hate saying it. I feel really cringy saying just the word itself, but a lot of people are gonna watch this, so I'll very politely try and build up the courage to say, hey, do you want to subscribe? Okay, if not, that's okay, sorry for asking. I don't know if I'm actually gonna put that part in the video, but yeah, goodbye.